Lycaon's huge body trembles again. His thoughts break apart, struggling to understand what this all means for the world he stands in. He is nearly drowned in sorrow. That fire inside him fades, replaced by disbelief so heavy it almost crushes him. If no one carries the blessing of the great god, then this world is already lost. Not just broken, but completely doomed. Then, that old scorn comes rushing back like a storm. His eyes sharpen like blades as he turns toward the humans. In his eyes, they are nothing but fools. Worse than fools. No better than kobolds, creatures known for their stupidity, running straight into death without realizing it. These humans have done the same. They walk toward destruction like it's a festival, heads held high, completely blind to the chaos they've caused. But even under this sharp condemnation, Daksha doesn't flinch. His mind stays calm. His thoughts are clear. This entire display, this angry loyalty to a broken system, is exactly what he expected from Lycaon. These so-called guides, these beings who come from dying worlds and pretend to be noble heroes, always wear the same mask. They act like they bring wisdom and power, offering strength to those who will kneel. But underneath all of it hides something else, an agenda they never speak aloud. Daksha steps forward with quiet confidence. His eyes meet Lycaon's, and his voice lands like iron. This massive creature, once known as the Prince of the Imiantar, used to rule the world of Kronos like a god. But now he behaves like a defeated coward, ready to throw in the towel the moment something goes off script. It's embarrassing. Lycaon reacts just as expected. His pride cannot handle being lectured by a human. The idea burns him more than any flame ever could. His voice grows louder, trying to remind everyone of his greatness. He talks about the Imiantar as if they still matter. In his mind, they are a glorious race who deserve respect. He cannot believe these earthlings dare to speak as if they know pain. But Daksha does not stop. His voice stays strong and cuts through Lycaon's loud nonsense like a blade through silk. Had Lycaon really forgotten how his own world ended, Daksha keeps pushing. His words do not stop. The Imiantar may have ruled Kronos once. They stood above everyone else, proud and powerful. But that is all dust now. Kronos is gone, this is Earth. And just like Kronos, Earth is standing at the edge. The 5 catastrophes are coming. They have already destroyed Kronos. And not even the mighty Munta, those ancient warriors, could do a single thing to stop them. Lycaon starts breathing harder. His mind fights to deny the truth, but it's no use. Then Daksha says it, the words that finally break what's left of Lycaon's pride. The southern land of Kronos, the place he once ruled like a king, wasn't lost by accident. It wasn't a battle. It wasn't war. It was wiped off the map, burned into nothing, destroyed by a force beyond anything they could handle. That force had a name, Ignir, the fire dragon, a monster of endless flames and destruction. It came down like a living disaster and turned Kronos into ashes. Lycaon bares his fangs. He snarls, claiming that Daksha and his companions are still underestimating what lies ahead. In his twisted view, they are nothing more than clueless insects standing on the edge of death. He believes they will all burn soon, their bodies swallowed by the same fire that once swallowed his home. The screams Lycaon imagined, burning bodies and chaos devoured by flame, never came to pass. Daksha stands firm, unaffected by the horror stories. His message is clear. The fire dragon will never arrive in this world. The destruction Lycaon feared has already been stopped. That fire, the one meant to erase everything, will not burn here. The beast that should have brought it has already been slain. Lycaon freezes. His roaring confidence halts in its tracks. That terrifying energy in his eyes slowly drains into silence. He tries to laugh it off, pretending it's some kind of joke. The kind of joke only fools would believe. But his voice trembles beneath the surface. Daksha reaches into his coat and pulls out a medallion. It glows faintly under the shattered sky, a gentle light in a broken world. The moment that symbol appears, Lycaon's smirk vanishes. His entire body stiffens. His gaze locks onto Daksha's hand, unable to look away. This is no shiny toy. It is a sacred item. A symbol known only to bloodlines connected to dragons and fire. A relic of the Imiantar's legacy. And now it's in the hands of a human. That alone speaks volumes. It confirms what Lycaon cannot bear to accept. Daksha has not just fought the fire dragon. He has won. That moment is real. That impossible battle has already happened. At Angik Station, Daksha went face to face with a living inferno and somehow walked away. The price was nearly his life. But what matters is the result, victory. The medallion proves it. It's not just a trophy, it's recognition. A mark of honor from the very bloodlines Lycaon once served. Lycaon, the proud warrior, the one who snarled and shouted just moments ago, cannot hold himself up anymore. His knees hit the ground with a dull thud. His pride, once towering and unshakable, breaks under the weight of reality. His head lowers in silent respect. All that arrogance, that fury, that wild bark of a beast, it all melts away, leaving only solemn reverence. Time passes. An hour later, Daksha finally takes a breath and explains the details to Saiyang, who had been watching everything but didn't follow the earlier parts. Her expression stays cautious. She listens carefully, but doubt still lingers in her eyes. The idea that the fire dragon counted as one of the 5 great catastrophes doesn't sit well with her. In her view, that was a lesser dragon, not the real threat. If that's true, then wouldn't that mean only 4 catastrophes are left instead of 5? The logic sounds strange to her. Too convenient. Like the system suddenly decided to make things easier for no reason. It feels like one of those cheap plot twists you find in second-rate survival stories. But Daksha sees it differently. He knows the system better than anyone. Anything that hatches from a meteorite counts as a catastrophe. That includes the fire dragon. It took Ignir's place. The bigger threat will not arrive now. It's a strange crack in the rules, a rare loophole, but it works in their favor. Still, Soyoung can't help but feel it's all too neat. Ignir never even appeared in the original novel. It was one of its children instead. And if something that powerful had shown up this early in the scenario, then the question arises, how could they have survived at all? The balance of power feels off. Something doesn't add up. Maybe the system is not just broken, it's evolving. Soyoung narrows her eyes at Daksha, her expression teasing. His words sound too perfect, too well-timed, like someone who knows exactly how the story is supposed to unfold. She can't help but wonder if he's hiding something bigger. His understanding of the twists feels unnatural. The way he speaks almost makes it seem like he wrote the entire thing himself. Her attention shifts to the glowing blue medallion still in Daksha's hand. That same symbol of protection, earned by killing the fire dragon, still radiates quiet power. If such a reward could come from defeating a catastrophe, then maybe the others aren't as impossible as they seem. If even Daksha, a regular man with nothing but willpower and stubborn grit, could take one down, then maybe these so-called world-ending monsters aren't untouchable. But Daksha's expression says something else. He doesn't share Soyoung's cautious hope. His survival against the fire dragon was not strength, it was luck, and luck runs out. The remaining catastrophes would not be any easier. In the original story, they were nightmares, each worse than the last. The real trials haven't even begun. Soyoung exhales slowly. If things were going to get worse, they needed a real plan. She looks to Daksha, waiting for his answer. He doesn't hesitate. The only thing they can do now is use what they have. Not far away, Lycan suddenly slams his hand onto a broken car, flattening it like paper. The metal folds beneath his strength as if it's made of tinfoil. Soyoung raises an eyebrow, watching the scene unfold. His strength is obvious. But strength means nothing without will. She doubts whether someone like him, so full of pride, so dramatic, can be counted on in a real fight. Daksha already knows the answer. Lycan may look strong, but he is still just a guide. A glorified messenger from another world. Guides like him cannot fight against the catastrophes of worlds that are not their own. And deeper than that, under all the royal attitude and polished words, Lycan is a coward. But then something changes. Lycan takes a step forward, lowers his head, and pledges himself without hesitation. There is no pride left in him now. Only loyalty, only obedience. He's ready to follow Daksha's command. Yet Daksha feels a strange discomfort. The way Lycan speaks to him, calling him master, makes him uneasy. The title feels wrong. Heavy, it's not what he wants to hear. Lycan, however, refuses to stop. To him, the one who carries the medallion is someone beyond question. A symbol like that cannot belong to an ordinary person. It's a sign of something greater, and Lycan has no right to speak casually to its bearer. Without asking for permission, he prepares to offer a skill passed through generations of his kind. The Way of the Wind. This is no common ability. It is a hidden art. A technique so refined, so dangerous, it allows the user to move the wind as if it were part of their own flesh. The Way of the Wind gives control over speed, precision, and freedom in battle, an edge that can shape fate itself. Daksha quietly remembers what he read in Ways of Survival. The 5 great catastrophes do not appear randomly. They rise in fixed places, northeast, southwest, and the center of Seoul. But one of them, the catastrophe of the south, is already gone. The fire dragon was meant to destroy everything. Now it lies dead. That means the first disaster has already come and gone. In the 5th scenario, the catastrophe of the east is set to arrive. This is the very reason he decided to hatch Lecha in the first place. The enemy that comes next is no ordinary beast. It is a force of nature, and the only hope of standing against it lies in mastering this ancient skill, the Way of the Wind. Lycan stands tall, confident. His posture is solid, like a statue shaped by war. His hands move with sharp precision as he begins the demonstration. His movements are smooth and graceful, but there is strength in every gesture. The technique is complex, yet every part of it carries meaning. He explains the logic. The tempest belongs to the left hand, the storm to the right. The true power of the wind is born at the point where the straight and the curved connect. That is the path of the wind's flow. Daksha, thanks to Ways of Survival, understands this explanation, at least in theory. He believes he does. He studies the motions carefully, repeating them over and over, trying to match them with the rhythm of the technique. But something is off. No matter how many times he tries, the wind does not answer. Something just won't connect. Time slips by. The training stretches out for another hour. Daksha keeps trying again and again. But nothing changes. His control over the wind fails every time. The flow breaks. The movement stumbles. Eventually, Lycan speaks up. This time, his voice carries hesitation. There's regret in his tone, like he wishes he didn't have to say the words. But he does. In his eyes, Daksha simply lacks the talent for this technique. Worse, he doesn't seem to have the natural skill for any special ability at all. The words strike harder than any weapon. Daksha goes silent, lost in thought. This skill is not optional. It's a requirement. Without it, stopping the catastrophe of the East might not just be difficult, it could be impossible. If he fails, the world falls with him. In the distance, Soyoung starts laughing, loud and unbothered. She finds his struggle hilarious. Daksha turns toward Lycan, demanding to know why this is happening. The frustration boils up, but Soyoung keeps laughing. Daksha's failure has gone on for 2 full days. Maybe it's time for him to give up. After all, Junghyuk mastered the same skill in just 5 minutes. That fact hits Daksha like a punch to the chest. Soyoung smirks as it all. Has Daksha really been fooling himself this whole time? thinking he was the protagonist just because things worked out a few times. Just because he has made it this far doesn't mean he is Junghyuk. Reality hits hard, pride cracks. Dokja's jaw tightens, but his mind stays sharp. He knows the theory. He understands what the technique is meant to do. The logic makes sense, the movement makes sense, but that doesn't matter. Knowing something in the head is easy. Making it real with your body is an entirely different fight. He focuses again, repeating Lycaon's words in his mind. Tempest in the left hand, storm in the right, the meeting point of straight and curve, that is where the way of the wind begins. Lycaon watches closely. His expression shifts. He is shocked. Somehow, Dokja actually understands the true concept. He really gets it. His grasp of the theory is flawless, but it still doesn't work. Knowing something means nothing if it can't be applied. Dokja understands the idea, but execution continues to escape him. Even Lycaon is confused. The explanation Dokja repeated just now, it was perfect. So perfect that even Lycaon admits he couldn't have described it better himself. Dokja exhales, shaking his head. The whole thing is just another metaphor, and that is exactly the problem. Inside his mind, everything starts unraveling. He is losing grip. The more he tries to make sense of it, the more it drives him mad. The instructions, the skills, ways of survival itself, it's all written in riddles. Layers of mystery stacked on top of more mystery. Nothing ever explains itself clearly. Every answer feels like wind slipping through fingers. He screams inside, trying to hold it together. Understanding the theory is one thing, but how is he supposed to actually do it? In his frustration, he changes his approach. His voice stays calm, but there's sharpness behind every word. He offers a new interpretation. One wind meets another to form a force called Taeguk. When they meet again, they divide into yin and yang, opposing forces that spin into balance. Lycaon stares, clearly shocked. The wolf-like warrior looks at Dokja as if he's just seen the stars rearrange themselves. That level of understanding doesn't come easily, but Dokja is done waiting for applause. He doesn't want compliments. He just wants to see results. He tells Lycaon to stop being amazed and start demonstrating. Lycaon nods and begins. The air shifts. Winds from different sides come rushing in, slow at first, then faster. They swirl, they clash, they pull the air into chaos. Heat and cold mix in perfect opposition. The winds balance each other just like Dokja described. Then they break apart, then come together again. This is it. Yin and yang in motion. And all Dokja can do is watch. He watches his own theory come alive, but through someone else's hands. That pride he'd been holding on to takes another hard hit. It stings. Suyang's laughter crashes into the moment like thunder. She laughs with everything she has, holding her stomach, nearly falling over. His failure is her favorite comedy show. Dokja grits his teeth. He refuses to give up. He speaks again, louder. A new idea. What if 4 winds came together to form a wall of shield so strong nothing could break through? Then what if they clashed again, folding into a trigram, a pattern so layered that the wind could be anywhere and nowhere at once? That is what it feels like to him. Lost in a storm of thoughts, surrounded by ideas that he understands but cannot control. He says even Lycaon probably can't perform that, but that storm, that confusion lives inside Dokja. Instead of laughing or mocking, Lycaon does something unexpected. He bows, not with arrogance, not with obligation. This is real, deep respect, offered without pride. He thanks Dokja not with words of politeness, but with something that feels honest. Then he brings his hands together. A pressure builds. Something powerful begins to rise. Suddenly, system messages pop up in front of Dokja's eyes. The alerts are clear. Prince Lycaon of the Emiantar, a 5th-grade species from another world, has reached enlightenment. His gratitude toward Dokja is real and deep. The one who once looked down on humans now bows to him with full respect. Suyang laughs even harder. Her sides hurt. Tears stream down her face. To her, this moment is comedy gold. Dokja, the stubborn hero trying to be great, ends up being the guru to a wolf prince by accident. Dokja's frustration boils again. Just as he prepares to scream at the world, the sky above roars. A loud crack tears through the air. Something, or someone, is coming. In the sky above them floats a familiar shape. The figure is translucent but radiates immense power. The Dokubi has returned. Dokja wastes no time. He activates the Dokubi communication at once. Dokja looks up and finally feels a little relief. The Dokubi has returned. That strange silence after the last incident left him uneasy, especially after the drama caused by that mid-level show-off who thought he could control everything. Turns out that arrogant idiot already got what he deserved. Byung reassures Dokja that the punishment has been delivered, and that clown won't show up again until the official start of the 5th scenario. But what catches Dokja off guard is Byung's next announcement. The channel has leveled up again because of Dokja. His performance continues to bring in attention. Now Byung is being eyed for a promotion. Soon he might be promoted to a mid-level Dokubi himself. Dokja listens but doesn't seem excited. His voice sounds tired, his energy low. Byung picks up on it right away and tries to remind him of the benefits. If Byung climbs the ranks, Dokja gets better rewards, more exposure, and more power. It's supposed to be a win-win. But Dokja doesn't care about upgrades right now. His mind already moves toward the future. He wonders if Byung, after getting promoted, will just get too busy for him. Maybe the attention will fade and he'll be left behind. But Byung cuts that thought off instantly. Most incarnations are nothing but background noise to him. But Dokja is different. He's the main act, the one pulling in all the numbers. There's no way Byung is letting go of his golden ticket. The conversation ends and Suyang walks over. She had been watching everything from a distance. Her usual confident energy is back as she casually asks about the plan. But Dokja hesitates. The sting of failure, of not learning the way of the wind, still weighs heavy on him. He admits he doesn't know what to do next. He needs time to figure it out. But Soyoung, never one to waste time, offers a simple solution. Maybe it doesn't matter who learns the skill. If the way of the wind is that important, someone just needs to master it. Anyone. Dokja immediately shuts that down. The rule is clear. Only someone who carries the protection symbol can learn the way of the wind. The scenario itself locked that restriction in place. That medallion isn't just a prop. It's bonded to him. No one else can take his place, not even Soyoung. Soyoung doesn't flinch. She just shrugs off the rule like it's another minor detail. Her next idea hits like a rock. If Dokja can't do it, then give it to the bolder Junghyuk. She says it like it's obvious. They still have time. All they need to do is find Junghyuk, help him power up, and get him to handle the problem. That way, everyone survives and no one has to stress about skills they can't learn. But Dokja shakes his head. That plan sounds good only on paper. In reality, Junghyuk is impossible. That man doesn't listen to anyone. He doesn't cooperate. He crushes plans that aren't his. Soyoung, grinning with unshaken confidence, throws out her next genius plan. If words won't work, she'll just seduce Junghyuk into listening. Apparently, her plan B is charm. Dokja looks at Soyoung for a second, then turns his eyes away. A sarcastic thought crawls through his mind. Junghyuk isn't exactly into children, so Soyoung's plan might be even more ridiculous than it sounded. The idea is so bizarre it nearly makes him laugh. But behind the sarcasm, the reality hits harder. Even Junghyuk, the perfect warrior, can't learn the wind of the wind without the protection symbol. And that symbol belongs to Dokja alone. The only way Junghyuk could get it would be by taking it from his dead body. That truth weighs heavily on Dokja. After everything he's done to Junghyuk in the past, there's no question what would happen if they met now. Junghyuk would kill him without hesitation. Dokja starts to speak, wanting to explain his thoughts, but something stops him. A desperate scream cuts through the air. Someone is yelling for help. A man is badly hurt. Then, without warning, a storm of system notifications appears in front of Dokja's eyes. One of them mentions the constellation Demonic Judge of Fire, apparently eager for his next move. Others follow. Many constellations are watching, waiting to see what he does. Some even seem to be cheering him on. This sudden pressure from above feels strange. Dokja senses something is building. Something big. No time to overthink. He and Soyoung rush toward the voice. When they arrive, Dokja stops dead in his tracks. His eyes widen. What he sees is not just serious, it's shocking. The person lying there bleeding, barely alive, is none other than Junghyuk. The protagonist, the one meant to be unstoppable, collapsed. Unconscious. Vulnerable. Dokja steps closer, still trying to believe what he's seeing. Floating nearby, with that smug grin always glued to his face, is Byong. The little rat looks pleased with himself. Dokja narrows his eyes. His suspicion rises fast. Everything about this screams setup. Byong shrugs, acting like an innocent bystander. But his fake confusion doesn't fool Dokja for a second. The timing is too perfect. The condition Junghyuk is in, the sudden involvement of the constellations, the emergency cry, it all lines up. There's no doubt in Dokja's mind. Byong rigged something. Most likely a hidden sub-scenario. The kind of backdoor manipulation only a Dokubi would try to pass off as fate. Soyoung takes a step back to take in the scene. They found Junghyuk. But now everyone knows what he is. He's the protagonist. The center of everything. Letting him die isn't really an option. Helping him seems like the only choice. But for Dokja, this isn't just another rescue mission. Saving Junghyuk might mean losing his own life. Junghyuk still sees him as an enemy. Soyoung stares at the broken figure on the ground. She doesn't speak right away. Eventually, she asks if there's a way to restrain him. Hold him down until they can talk things out. But Dokja already knows the answer. Nothing can hold Junghyuk. He is the kind of person who would rather die by his own hand than be controlled. A trap won't stop him. A cage won't hold him. And if they try to contain him, all they'll get is a corpse. Soyoung pauses and thinks it through. If Junghyuk really dies, then technically he could just regress. He would start over like nothing happened. But that possibility comes with a shadow. She wonders what happens to the rest of them if that reset triggers. That part is unknown, and that unknown is terrifying. Dokja feels the danger crawling in. A regression doesn't just affect one person. It could break everything. Timelines, scenarios, lives. The risk is too high. They have to stop Junghyuk from dying again, no matter how much they resent him. Looking down at Jung's blood-covered body, Dokja's mind starts racing. The injuries are deep. Brutal. This wasn't a slow beating. It was one huge strike, one massive hit that crushed him all at once. A terrifying idea crosses Dokja's mind. He wonders what if the one who landed that hit was him. Soyoung catches the storm in his expression. She asks if something's wrong. Dokja quickly dismisses it. But deep down, he knows. If Junghyuk wakes up and remembers, this won't end peacefully. Their last fight ended with Dokja throwing a punch powered by 100 full points of strength. A hit like that isn't easy to forget. It's only been 2 days. Then suddenly, Junghyuk's eyes snap open. Blood streaks his face. His eyes lock directly onto Dokja. That gaze holds no mercy. His lips move slowly, trying to form words, but his voice is barely a whisper. Dokja and Soyoung instinctively step back. That familiar pressure fills the air again, pure, focused killing intent. Dokja tries to reason with himself. It had been a fair fight. Junghyuk had tried to kill him too. Doesn't that make them even? But there's no fairness with Junghyuk. The man doesn't forgive. He doesn't do even. He wonders why did ways to survive the apocalypse choose someone like him to be the main character. Violent, cruel, cold, a walking disaster wrapped in human skin. If someone like Hyunsung or Hee-won had been the protagonist, everything would be different. Everything would be easier. But life didn't give them a decent hero. It gave them Jungyuk. Jungyuk keeps mumbling. His words are fading. Still too weak to speak clearly. Feeling uncertain, Dokja activates a skill. Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint. Everything shifts. Suddenly, Jungyuk's thoughts become clear inside Dokja's mind. The name Kim Dokja appears, not spoken aloud, but projected directly. Dokja freezes. Jungyuk is speaking through thought, and his tone isn't filled with rage. It's confusion. Doubt. He admits he's been watching Dokja all along. He says that, looking back on everything, maybe he had been wrong. His words crumble with his strength. His eyes close again. His body collapses like a switch turned off. Dokja panics. He calls out to him again, but there's no response. Something feels off. Wounds this serious should have triggered Jungyuk's auto-recovery by now. That man never stays down. Hurriedly, Dokja opens Jungyuk's character profile. What he sees turns his blood cold. There is a status ailment. A powerful one. Something inside Jungyuk's body is blocking his healing. Something unnatural is keeping him from getting back up. The way Jungyuk isn't healing makes it obvious. There is only one answer. Dokja realizes that poison must be the cause. Poison has always been one of Jungyuk's few weak points, especially during the early rounds of his regressions. Before Dokja can think any deeper, a voice calls out from nearby. One of the wanderers steps forward. His face looks unsure. He asks if the person standing there is really Dokja. According to him, Jungyuk kept repeating that name. Even half dead, he insisted on being brought to Dokja. The effort it must have taken only makes the situation heavier. Suyong still doesn't get it. Her eyes dart around, full of alarm. Nothing is making sense anymore. Then, like a bad joke re-entering a serious scene, the smug little decay floats into the air. Grinning with that same annoying expression, he claims to be Yoon-involved. He clearly enjoys the chaos but takes no responsibility for it. A textbook parasite. Dokja doesn't waste a second on him. There is no time to deal with that parasite. He immediately calls up the system interface and opens the item shop. The shop lights up. Dokja begins scanning through the list quickly. His eyes move over each item description, checking every ingredient. One by one, he begins purchasing what he needs. Each item has a specific effect, but Dokja knows the combination required for what he is facing. Something clicks in his memory. If the poison in Jungyuk's body is what he thinks it is, thousand spirit poison, then one item alone will not save him. The Elaine Forest essence, though strong, is useless by itself against something that deadly. The poison isn't just lethal. It is cruel. It drains the will to live. Dokja works fast. No time for second guesses. Soyoung watches silently, curiosity mixing with concern. She eventually asks what he is doing. His answer is sharp and focused. He is making an antidote. Soyoung looks at him, her expression shifting. She wonders if he has really decided to help Jungyuk now, after everything. Despite the fights, despite the tension, despite knowing the risks, Dokja stays focused. Then he admits something. He believes Jungyuk came to him for a reason, even poisoned. Even on the edge of death, Jungyuk dragged himself here. That wasn't an accident. Soyoung doesn't fully believe it. She wonders if maybe Jungyuk came for help, not revenge. There's no way someone would travel this far, in that condition, just to finish a fight. Dokja doesn't give a full reply. He says he knows Jungyuk. That's all he needs. He's read every page of Jungyuk's story. He's watched him suffer, survive, and endure hundreds of deaths. He knows the patterns. He knows the choices. He knows the man, even if that man has no idea who he really is. The flames under the small stove flicker. Dokja leans in and adjusts the heat carefully. The pot begins to boil. The liquid inside bubbles violently. The smell in the air is foul, like something scraped from the bottom of a goblin's cauldron. The soup looks hideous, the kind of thing monsters would drink before charging into a meat grinder. But the truth is simple. No matter how disgusting it looks, this mixture is one of the most effective antidotes for high-grade poison. And right now, it is their only hope. Dokja finishes preparing the antidote and picks up the foul-smelling soup with care. He walks over to Jungyuk's still body. Time is short. Every second matters now. Soyoung watches this strange scene play out like something out of a twisted romance. She mutters to herself, half laughing, about how these two almost look like a couple. Dokja briefly glances at her and offers the job, asking if she wants to do it. Soyoung instantly shuts that down. Not that it mattered. Dokja never planned to hand this over to anyone else. This moment belongs to him alone. This responsibility is his. He lifts the bowl and gently feeds the antidote to Jungyuk. The response is immediate. System notifications burst into view, flashing one after another. Dozens of constellations flood his screen with praise, each one dumping coins in his account like he's just won a jackpot. Dokja blinks in surprise. He didn't expect kindness to be this profitable. Jungyuk groans faintly. His eyes slowly open. He still looks pale and broken, but the worst seems to be over. His body is weak, but the poison is losing its grip. Color starts to return to his face. The antidote is working. Dokja welcomes him back in a quiet voice, then quickly moves forward with his next step. He pulls a special item from his inventory, Midday Rendezvous. A rare item. One that creates a private space for two people to speak in secret. No interruptions. No listeners. Dokja has many reasons for using it now. First, Jungyuk likely still can't speak clearly. His mouth is probably still numb from the poison. Second, Dokja doesn't want Soyoung listening in on what's about to be said. And third, he doesn't want Jugyuk to learn that he can read minds. If Daksha had more coins, he would have just bought telepathy. But this item will have to do. He sends a message request. A soft ding confirms it has been delivered. A few seconds pass. Jungyuk accepts. Daksha asks if he can hear him. The reply is sharp and immediate. Jungyuk tells him to go east. No thanks. No pause. Just another order thrown in his face like nothing happened. Daksha clenches his jaw. Of course. Even after being half dead, Jungyuk still acts like the world must follow his lead. Daksha saved his life. Yet Jungyuk acts like the story hasn't changed at all. Then comes a warning. Jungyuk explains that something is waking up. A catastrophe. The catastrophe of questions. Daksha freezes. That name brings weight. He knows it from the novel. It's one of the major disasters. And now it's becoming real. Worse still, Jungyuk adds something else. These events are not just bad luck. Someone is doing this on purpose. Someone is waking up every catastrophe at once. That detail hits like ice. This is not survival anymore. This is sabotage. Later, Daksha and Soyoung leave behind the still, silent Lycan, who sits quietly in a trance. The wolf hasn't woken up yet. His enlightenment continues. But Daksha doesn't stop to worry. Instead, he carries Jungyuk on his back and begins running. Soyoung raises a concern about leaving Lycan behind. Daksha answers calmly. He explains that as an Imyantar, Lycan can sense the presence of protection symbol holders. Once he wakes up, he will follow that connection and find them on his own. That isn't what really bothers Daksha, though. What bothers him more is the fact that Soyoung isn't helping carry Jungyuk. She has the strength of her avatar. Carrying one injured man should be no problem. But she refuses without hesitation. Her reason cuts through the air. She refuses to carry the same man who once decapitated her. Daksha cannot argue with that, not even a little. Then from behind him, Jungyuk's voice breaks the silence. He mutters something about being left behind, claims he doesn't need help. Typical nonsense from someone who nearly died. Daksha, already exhausted, fires back. If Jungyuk keeps acting proud, he might actually get dropped. The man is dramatic enough to win an award for arrogance. Daksha bluntly asks how long it'll take until Jungyuk can walk again. 2 days. That's the answer. Daksha doesn't like it. That's too long to carry someone who might try to kill him. He tries to joke, asks if Jungyuk is planning to murder him then. But Jungyuk says nothing. That silence feels heavy. The joke turns into a knot in Daksha's chest. He starts to doubt himself. Maybe Jungyuk really is planning something. Maybe this isn't over. Daksha tells him straight. He cannot help someone who wants him dead. No one could. Then he lays down a condition. If Jungyuk wants help, he must agree to an oath of existence. A sacred promise not to kill Daksha for the rest of this regression. Jungyuk rejects it. Daksha swears quietly under his breath. He cannot believe how thick-headed Jungyuk is. So he adjusts the terms. A new condition. Just until the end of the 5th scenario. That's it. If Jungyuk can't even promise that much, Daksha will leave him behind right now. There is a pause. Finally, Jungyuk gives in. He agrees. The moment the oath is made, cold blue flames burst out of Jungyuk's chest. The fire creeps inward, locking onto his heart. The oath is now real. Breaking it would bring pain so brutal it could rip him apart. But Jungyuk accepts it silently. No complaints, no hesitation. Daksha exhales slowly. For now, he is safe. But Jungyuk opens his mouth again. He says he won't kill Daksha. But revenge for the earlier punch is still coming. He won't forget that hit. Daksha forces out a nervous laugh. One punch. Just one. If that settles things between them, then fine. He can live with that. At least he hopes so. Soon after, they leave Gangnam behind. Daksha and Soyoung cross Changdam Bridge and enter a new district, Gwanggu. As they walk deeper into the area, everything around them begins to change. The ruined city of Seoul no longer surrounds them. The smell of rotting corpses disappears. In its place comes something new, a sharp, disgusting odor. Monster waste. Thick and sour. The road beneath them isn't normal asphalt anymore. Cracks are filled with wild green grass pushing through like nature is fighting back. High above, a massive plant trunk coils around the buildings. Its thick vines stretch skyward, wrapping the concrete like a snake trying to strangle a dying city. A new system message flashes. A Tier 7 monster named Yenasplita has sensed him and become cautious. That is not good. When a monster this powerful gets wary, it means trouble is close. Daksha immediately warns Soyoung. He explains that if they stay calm and avoid sudden moves, they might avoid triggering a fight. But she must be careful. She must not step on any of the roots scattered along the ground. Those roots belong to the plant like being, and stepping on them would be seen as an attack. Now everything is clear. Kronos, a world that once existed far away, has started terraforming Earth. This is part of the 5th scenario. It is not just survival anymore. It is a war between worlds. Earth is being rewritten. Not by time or disaster, but by invasion. Seoul is no longer just Seoul. The streets and buildings are being swallowed by Kronos. China is already under siege from the Wuxia world. Japan is next, with the White Demon world preparing to strike. One by one, countries are becoming battlegrounds. Earth is being erased and replaced. Soyeon curses under her breath. It frustrates her. No matter where they go, something from another world is waiting to consume the land. Nothing feels familiar anymore. Dokja explains the reason. The catastrophe's awakening has likely pushed the invaders to move faster. What was meant to be a slow takeover is now speeding up. The world is spiraling into chaos. Soyeon asks who could be behind this madness. Dokja gives her a pointed reminder. People like her. People who mess with forces they don't understand. People who act without considering the cost. He hasn't forgotten. She was the one who woke up the fire dragon back then. Soyeon fires back immediately. She reminds him that he handled the dragon just fine. But Dokja disagrees completely. The only reason he survived that battle was because a mid-level Dakabi showed up and placed a penalty on the beast. That fight was brutal. It was not some clean victory. Soyeon talks like it was simple, but she never faced the monster herself. She stood on the sidelines. Dokja makes that very clear. Soyeon then asks whether they can count on another miracle. Would a Dakabi step in again? Dokja shakes his head. No help is coming. The catastrophe of questions is a different kind of threat. Penalties won't work this time. And the Dakabis are not interested in saving anyone anymore. The rules have changed. As they move forward, Dokja starts noticing something strange. Many of the monsters that should have been guarding this area are already dead. Their corpses line the path, cut down with precision. Then it clicks. Junghyuk must have passed through this way. Even while poisoned and collapsing, he fought his way through the monsters. Every enemy that fell here fell because he was looking for Dokja. Even while injured, Junghyuk managed to clear the entire area. That simple fact leaves a strange mark on the mind of Dokja. Despite the blood and broken body, Junghyuk never stopped moving forward. That kind of will is hard to ignore. Dokja opens the team chat. There's something he's been holding back. With Junghyuk so close to death, he had expected the man to give up and trigger a regression. But instead of running from the pain, Junghyuk fought through it. He came all the way just to find Dokja. That's what Dokja wants to understand. Junghyuk's reply hits with pride. He speaks like someone who never learned how to quit. If giving up were his nature, he never would have started this journey in the first place. Those words shake something inside Dokja. He starts thinking about the Junghyuk he once knew, the one from 3 Ways to Survive the Apocalypse. That version had lived through 7 regressions. A man who had faced so many deaths, so much betrayal, that all the softness in him had been scraped away. The novel's Junghyuk killed easily, not because he was cruel, but because the pain had eaten through every layer of his soul. But the one standing in front of Dokja now is different. This Junghyuk is still human, still holding on to something, dreams, hope, a future. Dokja starts to question himself. For the longest time, he thought he understood Junghyuk completely, but now he realizes he might not know this version at all. Not really. Then Junghyuk says something that makes everything go quiet. When he was near death, the first person that came to his mind was Dokja. Not his allies, not the gods, not even the mission. He thought about Dokja. He remembers the moment Dokja destroyed the ruler's throne without hesitation. That reckless act stood out. It wasn't a stunt, it was defiance. That kind of boldness is rare even among protagonists. Dokja expected to be scolded for that. He thought Junghyuk would lash out, blame him, say it was foolish. But that doesn't happen. Junghyuk doesn't want to dig up the past. To him, the throne was just a burden. He never cared for it. And deep down, he suspected Dokja destroyed it to block the god from the other world from taking control. Hearing Junghyuk speak with such calm clarity takes Dokja by surprise. This is the first real conversation they've ever had. Not grunts, not insults. A real talk. It makes Dokja pause. Junghyuk has always been strong. That much was obvious. But this version also has insight, awareness, and understanding. He isn't just a sword. He's thinking clearly. He's reading the world. And he's reading Dokja too. That part feels unexpected. Junghyuk admits that destroying the throne made sense in that moment, but the aftermath turned into something messy. Without the throne, the guides scattered. No one knew where to go or what to do. And the meteorites, which should have been gathered quickly, were delayed. That delay opened the door to disaster. The terraforming process started speeding up unnaturally. Entire chunks of Earth began falling under foreign control. The Wanderers somehow tapped into the power of the meteorites, and that energy began spreading the otherworldly territories faster than expected. Dokja knows this doesn't add up. A meteorite by itself shouldn't have that much influence. Using one should not make the process go wild. So he asks Junghyuk what's really behind it. Junghyuk answers with something that stops Dokja cold. One of the 10 evils has taken control of a meteorite. That news alone sends tension straight through Dokja's chest. He asks if it's the poison beauty, Lee Seolhwa. Junghyuk confirms it. Dokja understands instantly. Seolhwa is the only one capable of using Thousand Spirit Poison, a rare toxin that even gods avoid. But one thing doesn't make sense. If Junghyuk knew she was the enemy, Why didn't he avoid her? He asks how the poison even got into his system. Jung-hyuk says something Dokja wasn't ready to hear. He tried to talk to her. That surprises Dokja more than anything. Jung-hyuk is the kind of man who uses fists, not words. But now it fits together. Jung-hyuk didn't attack. He wanted to bring her back. He tried to turn her into an ally. Dokja remembers how in the second round, Seolwa had been one of Jung-hyuk's closest companions. The 10 evils weren't always villains. Just like Gong Pil-do used to be a tyrant and now fights beside them, Seolwa too had changed depending on the timeline. Even in the very first round, she stood by Jung-hyuk's side. Of all the people he met in different regressions, Seolwa was one of the few who kept returning. Over and over, someone he trusted, someone he believed in. Dokja looks at Jung-hyuk and accepts a new truth. What Jung-hyuk did, reaching out, hoping, felt completely out of character. It wasn't like him at all. Jung-hyuk quietly agrees. He says it was pathetic. But he still did it. Silence falls between them. Then Jung-hyuk admits something heavier. The woman he met wasn't the Seolwa from his memories. She was colder. Different. But in that one brief moment, he let himself hope. Just for a second, he wanted to believe that maybe the real Seolwa was still inside her. The one who used to fight with him. The one who understood him. Dokja doesn't mock him for it. He understands that kind of grief. That feeling of trying to hold on to someone who's already gone. Jung-hyuk gives him a sharp look. His eyes narrow. He asks if Dokja has ever regressed before. Because the way he talks sounds too familiar. Like someone who's lived through the same pain. But Dokja keeps his answer simple. He does not need to be a regressor to understand that kind of loneliness. Deep down, Dokja feels torn. He knows he shouldn't throw around heavy words like that, especially not with someone like Jung-hyuk. This man isn't easy to reach. But a part of Dokja believes that no one has ever truly understood Jung-hyuk, not in any timeline. Maybe no one ever will. That's why, even if he isn't a regressor, Dokja feels it's okay to say those words, just once. Jung-hyuk doesn't look away. He says the feeling is strange. He knows Dokja is not a regressor. He's certain of it. But somehow, Dokja speaks with a kind of insight that most people can't even fake. The way he talks, the way he responds, feels too accurate. Jung-hyuk guesses it must be one of Dokja's powers. Something related to his prophet, like role. A cheat code from the system, maybe. But even with that thought, Jung-hyuk makes it clear he will never lower his guard. After all, he still sees Dokja as the man who took his sister away. Dokja immediately pushes back against that. He says it wasn't like that. He was protecting her. Nothing more. To prove it, he brings up Jung-hyuk's lie detection skill. That ability should already be telling him the truth. But before they can go deeper, Soyoung's voice cuts through sharply. She calls out with urgency. Their group has reached a high spot, enough to see across the road stretching from Cheonho Bridge to Gangdong. A massive light is glowing in the sky. The clouds have been torn apart. Something huge just dropped into Gangdong Go. Dokja curses under his breath. Everything is moving faster than he expected. Soyoung asks if they're already too late. She wonders if the catastrophe has awakened. But Dokja thinks carefully. The scenario system hasn't activated yet. That means there's still a window left. The disaster hasn't started officially. Then he notices something on the ground. A mark, a symbol burned into the earth. It's a clear sign. They've entered the territory of Seolwa. The poison beauty didn't just take the meteorite. She secured her zone and set up a proper defense. She moved fast. Faster than anyone expected. Her forces are already in position. Just one look tells Dokja everything. This won't be a skirmish. This won't be a negotiation. Taking that meteorite from her is going to be war. Soyoung turns to Dokja and asks if he has a plan. Dokja responds with calm certainty. They don't need to fight everyone. Their goal isn't to win a war. It's to steal the meteorite. That's it. He says he'll stay behind to slow down the enemy while the others move in and secure the target. Jung-hyuk doesn't panic. Despite the rising tension in the air, he keeps his voice even. He says there's no need to rush. Even if the catastrophe begins, it can be stopped quickly. That statement makes Dokja uneasy. He doesn't understand how something as deadly as the catastrophe of questions could be handled so easily, especially with Jung-hyuk still injured. It doesn't add up. But Jung-hyuk shows no concern. He points at Dokja, says he's the one who will do it. That has always been the plan. Isn't that why he came here? Dokja stumbles at that. He demands to know why Jung-hyuk thinks that way. Jung-hyuk doesn't hesitate. He assumes Dokja already awakened the guide and learned the skill, Path of the Wind. That's the move he expects. Dokja realizes something. Jung-hyuk must be annoyed. That skill is probably something Jung-hyuk originally wanted for himself. Now, seeing Dokja with the opportunity must sting a little. But Dokja tells him the truth. He never learned it. Jung-hyuk looks surprised. Dokja had time. He had resources. If it was just about understanding, he should have mastered it. Jung-hyuk even offers to explain the technique, but Dokja cuts him off. Understanding wasn't the problem. The problem was simple. He lacked the talent for it. That answer makes Jung Yuk visibly frustrated. His voice sharpens, the pressure behind his words heavy. Dokja doesn't even need to see him. He can feel Jung Yuk's glare stabbing him in the back like a knife. Before the tension can rise further, Swyong cuts in. She alerts the group. There's movement nearby. They are deep inside the domain of one of the 10 evils. That can only mean one thing. The people approaching must be enemies. The figures begin to take shape in the distance. But something feels wrong. Then a woman's voice rises across the space. She yells, telling everyone to run toward Qianho Bridge. These people aren't part of Seolwa's forces. Their faces are filled with fear. They are not fighters. They are survivors running from something worse. They rush past, breathless and desperate. One of them begs for a path through, pleading to be let past. Then it happens. A sound cuts through the air like a scream. Arrows rain from above. One of the fleeing men collapses right where he stands. His body jerks once before going still. The skin on his back turns black, and the flesh begins to rot. The arrows are coated in something vile. Poison. Shouts rise behind the chaos. The poisoners' group is chasing them down. Dozens of enemies, men and women, charge forward without mercy. Another wave of arrows flies through the air. No hesitation. No warning. Dokja and the others move fast. They duck behind a nearby building, using the walls for cover. But just before the arrows land, something strange happens. Silk threads appear in the sky. Dozens of glowing, razor-sharp strands stretch out and twist midair. They form a trap overhead, strong and shimmering. The arrows smash into the web and stop dead. Not a single one makes it through. Swyong stares in disbelief. She's never seen anything like this. These threads don't come from the poisoners. They come from behind them. They flash like steel and slice through the air like living blades. They are not just for defense. The threads cut through the attackers like ribbons. Some enemies lose legs mid-charge. They hit the ground screaming. The rest stumble in panic. All the threads lead back to a single figure. A woman. She flies through the air, dressed in a tight black combat suit. Her movement is fluid, almost like dancing. Her knives extend from her fingers. She rides the threads like they are part of her body. Every motion is smooth, clean, controlled. The threads change length with each move, wrapping around enemies and tearing through them like paper. In seconds, the poisoners' group is gone. Wiped out. Dokja watches her, trying to figure out who this deadly new force is. He opens her character profile. Nothing. No name. No data. No trace. She doesn't even exist on the character list. Swyong starts to ask something, her voice full of confusion. But Dokja already knows. He recognizes her now. It's Sanga. Only 2 days have passed since they last saw each other. But something has changed. The quiet office worker is gone. The woman standing before them now is sharper than any blade, deadlier than any poison, transformed. But she is still Sanga. I hope that you liked today's video, and if you did, hit that like button as today's goal is 1,500 likes. Comment next part down below for the next part. Also, consider subscribing with the notification bell on to get notified as soon as a new video drops onto the channel. You can also join the channel to support me financially and watch videos before public release. I'll meet you in the next video. Until then, thanks for watching.